Hi, everyone. Welcome back to this week's episode of the Daily's Dose. I'm Gianna Ortner-Findlay, the managing editor of the North Texas Daily.
Hi, everybody. I'm Aiden Gonzalez, the digital editor for the North Texas Daily.
And we're your
Your
hosts
hosts
who
who
do
do
the
the
most.
most. Okay, so in last episode, we talked a little bit about Millie Bobby Brown and her appearance in the media
Mm-hmm.
and how she was a little bit controversial. Well, controversial as in people were hating on her and
Yeah,
criticizing her looks and
like
stuff.
controversial opinions about her, not her being
Yeah, no.
controversial. Yeah.
She's never controversial in my eyes. I
And
love all her.
Millie Bobby Brown is perfect.
I love all her roles, low key. She's very like a well versed actress.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, remember we mentioned a little bit about the new movie she's in and she's doing tour for?
Mm-hmm.
The Electric State.
Yeah, with Chris Pratt.
Yeah. So the movie came out and within the first week of Netflix, this is when they do it's like their box opening for like theaters.
Yeah, for sure.
So for Netflix, they did not at the end of the day they did not score well in earnings and how
Mm-hmm.
much people viewed the movie and stuff. So for a movie that costed $300 million, which is a little crazy
Mm-hmm.
to make a movie, the budget must have been so big. So for $300 million, it only got 25 million views.
Wow, yeah. What's do we know the box office like
Oh, like the actual.
yeah, the actual amount? Cuz like 300 million budget wise, no, the majority of the budget when it comes to movies, while it does go towards production,
Goes to actors, you
it
think?
definitely mostly goes to actors, especially
Really?
like the larger name actors. So like if
Mm-hmm.
you are able to find like what an actor basically requires in order to be on set, um, you will basically be able to break down how the budget's actually being distributed.
It's crazy how like some of these actors like constantly are in movies and their budget increases.
Mm-hmm.
While I do see that, you would think it'd be a little less because I feel like if they cost more to be on movies, not that many people have that much money to book them. So I feel like
Yeah.
if you constantly want to be involved in movies and films, I personally, my budget would be a little bit less so I can book more movies.
Yeah. So like for Millie Bobby Brown, she's been reportedly like earned $5 million for being in the Electric State. So at minimum, like a lot of that, like a
Yeah.
portion of that, again goes towards the actors. But I think it's Netflix's biggest gamble, honestly, on a film like this. I think it's the largest price tag that Netflix has fished
It's
out,
definitely one
basically.
of the biggest for sure. And then for especially for having two. So the filmmakers are two of the most successfully filmmakers
Yeah.
who produced this show and had two highly popular actors on this. They low-key expected this film to skyrocket and do much better than it actually did.
Mm-hmm.
And so it made me like I was looking at the comments on some of the article I read. Some of these fans were comparing this movie to a movie they could easily just watch and just have in the background and not really care about.
Yikes.
And everyone knows those movies you just turn on when you're doing laundry. You're not really paying attention, but every
Mm-hmm.
now and then you'll like tune in to see if like what's happening and stuff. People compared that movie to this, and it made me stop and think about it. Does the saying "bigger doesn't always mean better" true for big production films?
I mean, yeah, like there are some films that have like a lot lower of a price tag when it comes to production
Yeah,
that have done significantly better in like audience, like like how they received it.
yeah,
So I mean, having a giant price tag doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be like the most amazing movie on the face of the planet. I mean, sometimes the larger price tag does come with quality, like especially when it comes to modern movies with a lot of like CGI and stuff like that.
yeah.
Like for an example, like this is going to be slightly controversial in the sense that people don't entirely like the newer Star Wars films,
Oh,
but like Star Wars The Force Awakens had a $447 million budget. And I thought that was a pretty decent film. Like, and so again, a lot of that did go towards, in part, to production cost and
yeah.
then the paying the actors. But like, that is a film I feel like that does have a large budget that did kind of warrant it.
Yeah. And
As far as like what they received in the box office, I'm not entirely sure. So I actually don't even know that they like made it back.
like profit or anything
Yeah.
off of it. Especially for Star Wars, it's such like a well-known series and stuff. But I feel like either way, regardless, it still would have scored high, like
Yeah.
ratings and How many viewers watched it?
Yeah, so for the Force Awakens, it looks like it earned, because the domestic opening earned it 247 million, which is basically
Like almost
half
half,
of it.
a little more than half.
Yeah. But domestic, in general for the original release, it looks like it was actually over 936 million.
Ooh.
So that's throughout its entire run from December to January. So it earned basically it earned it back. It earned a profit, and so that I feel like that does kind of go towards
Yeah.
the price tag meaning something in this instance. However, that's not always the case. In fact, that's kind of like an outlier.
Yeah. Well, that's crazy. Just wanted to touch up on that. How Millie Bobby Brown doing in
Yeah,
the media.
it's always good to check in on Millie Bobby Brown.
I love her.
Now,
I'm still waiting
yeah.
for season 5 or 6 of Stranger Things.
Stranger Things. So they've supposedly already finished filming, I believe.
Really?
And so I kind of want to know where it's at.
What are they
because,
waiting for at
like,
this
what are
point?
we waiting for?
What
It's
are we waiting
been
for?
so many years, and honestly, like, it's just the production cost. And as we've seen, Millie Bobby Brown has been in numerous projects
Yeah.
since and in between.
Mhm.
So it probably, and same thing with Finn Wolfhard, like that one like a kind of like almost like werewolfy movie, like The Legend of Umo or something like that.
Mhm.
He's Finn Wolfhard's in that. And it looks cute, but it also kind of like doesn't, like, because it just looks like it's yet another iteration of like girl finds creature isn't as bad as it looks. Girl like talks with creature and they bond.
Yeah.
And then girl saves the world, and I'm like, dude, no. Like, that's not how it works in the real world. Like, it's not always like everything is sunshines and kittens and this
Yeah.
thing's just misunderstood. Sometimes things do tear you apart, and so it's like I feel like it's just another unfortunate iteration of that story that we just keep getting back and back over and over again. But irregardless,
I mean, I guess if it does well the first time, you might as well keep trying to make spin-offs of it.
that is the one of the things with Hollywood, is just like the continuation of the remakes. Like, the amount of things where we'll go, oh, well, we really need like a remake of this movie, or we really need a sequel to this movie, when like 9 times out of 10 the sequels to a movie are not as good as the original.
Yeah.
Don't do as well as the original, and actually don't further the story. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And then as far as Stranger Things season 5,
Oh, I was right. Season 5.
it is set to premiere in 2025.
Oh, okay.
So
Well,
they did finish filming. They wrapped production. So it's done. They just haven't released it.
Yeah, another thing I heard, I remember reading a couple of articles on this, is most of the cast of Stranger Things don't want to be on the film no more. They're just there because they signed the contract, so they have to still continue playing a role. Why is Millie Bobby Brown, who's 18, 19, still portraying, what, a 14, 15-year-old in the show?
I think she's actually 21 now.
Or 21, even worse.
But it's just that thing in Hollywood, which we discussed in like the last episode, which is really just the fact that we've got these older actors that are expected to fulfill a role that is vastly younger than they are, because they don't want to actually put people in the roles that reflect those people in general. Yeah. It's just a thing that happens all the time, unfortunately. And like, you'll have like 27-year-olds portraying like a 15-year-old. And so it's like, people will get, like I said last time, like, you have these people that are looking up to these characters and are like, oh, I want to be that person when I'm 15. And it's like, well, you can maybe be them when they were 15, but they're not 15 in this film.
No.
And so I think also that does go back in again to what we discussed, in that like, people will put them in these roles and then they're just kind of stuck. And so that's, again, that kind of
legally
they're legally stuck. And that kind of like goes into a little bit of what we're going to talk about later, about like how we as consumers put these actors in a place, and are basically like not allowing them to grow or to move or to do other things because we've pegged them into something. And so I feel like that's probably why a lot of them definitely are not enjoying their time on the set anymore. But they're probably still going to portray the, oh, well, we're having so much fun, like
I
on
mean,
set vibe that they normally do, until you get an expose 15 years later about how
yeah, we'll be
terrible the
waiting for
set
that
was.
Netflix documentary.
The Netflix documentary or the book or something like that.
But at the same time, these people are making millions, and you're still unhappy. What?
Well, I think again it's just like kind of like that difference in lifestyle. I mean, like obviously
That's true.
if you've been in the industry for years at this point, I think
Over a decade for Millie's
yeah, I
case.
think at this point Millie Bobby Brown has been in the industry for a decade, right? Yeah.
She started at 10.
Because that's when she got into Stranger Things, and that's and among other roles,
Yeah.
but her most notable definitely was
For
Stranger
sure.
Things at that age. And so like you get these people that have been in the industry for a very long time, and so they don't really know anything else. And so they have become accustomed to the treatment, the way that they are paid, the accommodations, all of that stuff. And so it's just a different mentality. Like for you, it would be like, oh, well, I'm being paid this amount of money. I'm not going to complain about it.
Yeah.
But for them, it's like, oh, well, I'm worth this amount of money. I can't believe I still have to do this. And so I think it's just a different mentality because of how
I do
long
see
they've
that
been
then.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel like also it's just again like being stuck in that same role for so many years, because as an actor, like part of your whole job is to basically become a new person every single time that you go into a project, because a good actor doesn't bring themselves into the role. So they're going to basically become the character. So Millie Bobby Brown is not 11. 11 is not Millie Bobby Brown. They are two different, distinct individuals. And it's something that you kind of have to get into as an actor, like the mindset of a character. And so being stuck in that mindset, being stuck in that person for what is this, like 9
like 2020,
years?
yeah.
Like forever, like basically. Cause like, well, yeah, no, if she was 11 when she started 11, like that's like a really long time, like 9 years, no?
Yes.
Yeah, so like they've been stuck in these characters for almost a decade. So I feel like that's also kind of what you kind of have to think about when you're seeing these actors and you're like, oh well, they're being so ungrateful. They're being paid this amount of money, blah 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 blah. Like they are, but also at the same time they're not.
Yeah. Do you think once I'm assuming season 5 is gonna be the last season.
I think it is. Yeah.
So once the season and the show is over, do you think people can finally accept Millie for who she is?
Yes and no, because she's doing a really good job of kind of branching out in what she's doing as an actress. But also at the same time, she is kind of playing the same kind of role over and over again. Like in her performance in Damsel on Netflix, like she plays a headstrong, independent, like a strong female character.
Yeah.
Which is what she is with 11. That's what she is, I'm assuming, in the Electric State. So she has a tendency to play the strong female lead. And I feel like, well, that is good. We should have representation of strong female characters. I feel like it's going to be a little hard for people to recognize her as a different character, to be a different character without seeing 11.
That is so true.
And so that's the thing, is that like while the actor has, moved on, gone to a different character, become a different person in that character, they do still have little bits and pieces of these roles that they've accumulated over the years. Like William Dafoe. Like I will never not see him as the Goblin. And the reason why is because he played that for so long.
Yeah.
And so every time I see him in a film, I'm like, where's your green suit, man? And so that's not anything on the actor. It's just what we've
perceived them as.
Yeah, what we perceive them as and what we've essentially equivalated them to. Like, and so yes and no.
I'm on the same fence as you, yeah. Well, hopefully she branches out successfully without the criticism from everybody.
Yeah, unfortunately, as a woman in any industry, probably not.
Okay. Next topic I wanted to talk about,
Mm-hmm.
something I saw circling around the news over the weekend, is season 17 Bachelor star
Mm-hmm.
Sean Lowe was attacked by his
Oh my gosh.
very own dog. Sorry, my bad. He only has one dog. It's a boxer. It's a 7-year-old dog
Aw.
here in Dallas.
He lives in Dallas?
He lives in
I
Dallas.
didn't know that.
Born in Arlington. He went to the same, fun fact, he graduated from the same high school I would have graduated if I didn't move from Irving to
Wow.
Lamar High School. Shout out. But
What
yeah.
a tie back. That's kind of crazy.
If only I didn't move, I could say, yeah, I went to the same high school. I graduated from the same high school as the Bachelor star.
Yeah,
That
you
would have
could've.
been a cool flex, low key. But anyway, so it all started over the weekend. Sean was having a cookout with his friends
Mm-hmm.
while his wife, Catherine, went to the mall shopping with his kids.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he lives in he has money, so in his
Mhm.
house, I guess he has floor to ceiling windows, so he had everything
Oh
open.
wow.
And so when he was cooking out, some of the smoke from outside, I guess, traveled inside the house, and
Mm-hmm.
it'll set off the smoke alarm, fire alarm.
Oh.
And so he got his dish rag trying to like blow off. You know, when there's an alarm, you try to blow off the
Mhm.
alarm. When the alarm came off, the dog, I guess, switched modes and got very defensive and got so scared. I guess he
Oh.
started attacking Sean. And at first he was very confused because they've had this dog for 3 months already.
So this is a new dog, but it's an
Yeah.
older dog.
It's an older dog. They adopted this dog from a shelter, an animal shelter.
Mm.
I will get into that later. I do
Okay.
have questions on that.
Okay.
But he was attacked. He pushed back the dog at first. Was biting his feet and it left holes in his shoes.
Oh wow.
We don't know what kind of shoes he was wearing, but we couldn't assume it's like, shoes aren't really easily to be like bit into.
No, yeah.
So I mean, I guess for a dog, where they have a super strong teeth, I guess so.
I mean, yeah, bite force, but like regardless.
Still. So he pushed the dog off of him, and then when dogs show their teeth very aggressively, something is about to happen. He pounced on him and started just attacking his arm
Oh my
viciously.
gosh.
And so he was there, just getting attacked by his dog. His friends were outside, and this happened inside. So he tried to like take him outside so his friends could like see and be aware of what's happening to push the dog off of him.
Uh-huh.
Some time goes by, and they finally push the dog off of him.
Wow.
And so his friends, thank God his friends were there. They rushed him to the emergency room.
Yeah,
And
for
he finally
sure.
got stitches. While his friends were calling Catherine because she was at the mall shopping. She was unaware. They
Mhm.
came home. His friends helped clean up a puddle of blood, is what they said,
Wow, yeah.
from your own dog. Okay. They went and got stitches. Everything was cool, calm, and collected.
Mhm.
The next day, no later than 12 hours later, he got attacked again by the same dog.
What?
So his parents were here, I guess, visiting because he was just injured.
Okay.
So he was packing the car, about to go travel somewhere, and the front door was open. The kids were already in the car.
Uh-huh.
He was outside packing the car, and the dog was inside the house. With the door open, the dog saw him from outside through the door and booked it straight towards him. And so when he saw the dog coming straight at him, he was scared. He was scared for his life. He was like shocked. He didn't know what to think, what to
Mhm.
do. And so when the dog finally came and jumped on him again, keep in mind he only had one arm to defend himself with because he just had stitches 12 days
Yeah.
prior. He was sitting there on the floor trying to get the dog off of him, but luckily his parents were there. So his father was outside with him. His father helped get the dog off of him too.
Wow.
And so for 10 minutes, they were there just trying to keep the dog calm while the cops were on their way. And so the cops finally came.
Mhm.
They got the dog. They detained the dog, put it up for adoption again.
Poor thing.
But the whole time, I do feel bad for the dog.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Sean's mentality, though, he was very thankful it was him and not his wife or kids.
I mean, yeah.
He said the dog sleep with his kids, like on their bed. So if that fire alarm went off, would have went
Mhm.
off while the dog was sleeping on the kid's bed, what do you think would have happened? Do you think that dog would have still went for the kids, or do you think it would have went for him?
I don't know.
There's just like so
Yeah,
many
there's
questions.
a lot of variables I think here because like at the beginning I was like, oh, this poor thing, it must have just had a really bad reaction because I mean, one,
Yeah,
this sounds like this dog has had bad experiences with men previously,
exactly.
as well as bad experiences with loud noises.
Yeah,
And considering it's a senior dog, or getting up there,
he's getting up there, 7 years
like
old.
7 years old.
For
I think
a boxer, yeah.
I think senior dog starts at 7 or 8.
Mhm.
And so basically, like, this dog has only known what it has known. And so
Yeah.
basically, if it's not used to these people, And so when you were first talking about it, it just kind of felt like maybe that was just like an innate reaction.
Yeah.
But the 12 hours later,
With no fire
with
alarm going off this
no
time.
prompting,
No. You just saw him again.
that makes me doubt how low is treated that dog in the 3 months that they had him.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously not to blame the victim
Yeah.
here.
No, we're not blaming the victim, but
like that
it does raise
dogs
the
don't
concerns.
just
They
dogs
just
don't just
don't.
react like that.
And it's crazy because he said this is not just a dog. This is my dog. That dog goes to him more than any other family members in the house.
Yeah, no, that's so crazy. Like that's
Yeah.
something that was so like a dog that was so close to someone.
Yeah.
Just straight up attacked him, basically. I mean, don't get me wrong, like all dogs have the capability of turning on, like, quote, turning
Yeah.
on you or whatever. But like the probability of it is extremely low because like they will only do what they've known, basically. So if they felt threatened or attacked and whatnot, then I mean they're gonna do something. So I'm kind of unsure on how to feel about this. And they put it back out for adoption?
Yeah. Well, but look, maybe I'm just an evil person, but after that first incident, if I almost scared for my life, that dog would have been put down, not for adoption.
Well, so I believe in most places there is a 2 or 3 strike law.
Oh, okay.
And so I think it's a 3 strike law, if I'm not mistaken. And so basically it depends on the type of attack. And so basically, like if there has been, in this case, a physical bite and it broke skin,
Yeah,
a dog is normally put into a quarantine for about 10 days to make sure that they don't have rabies. And then basically when they are released from that, they have a strike on their record. And then I think it's either a 1 or 2 time. It's either 2 or 3 times for that strike law. And then basically after that cutoff, the dog is put down, irregardless of the reason why.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I think that's so my dog, one of my dogs, he has a history of being abused from his past owners. And so he was playing with my sister when she was younger, and she was on the swing, and he went to like play with her, and his mouth went around her leg. And
Wait, what kind of dog do you have?
He's a pit mix. And so
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So a pit bull isn't, or like a pitty isn't really like a breed of dog. It's just kind of like a umbrella term for a type of dog.
Yeah.
And so, but basically that there was no intention, no malice, whatever, but because it broke skin, he was sent to the pound for 10 days. And so, yeah.
Wow.
And so even though there was no malice behind it, there was no like grab on, not let go, like attack
no
or
blood?
anything. No, it broke skin.
Oh. Yeah.
But like even that, like sent to the pound. And so like
For this story though,
for this story,
no pound after the first one.
well, I think part of the reason why is because the attacks were so close together.
Yeah.
I kind of don't know why the dog wasn't taken away. Maybe the rules in Dallas are different. But I mean, the one that I'm talking about literally happened in the DFW area.
Yeah.
So I mean, I really don't think that it would vary that much.
Yeah.
So yeah, when it comes to this, I kind of don't know.
No, yeah.
There's a lot of variables here, and I feel like we're obviously not going to get the dog side of the story because it's a dog. But I'm not entirely
My only
sure.
concerns is I want to know the dog's past.
That's what I'm saying. Like I would want to.
I was Sean. I would go back to that shelter and say, "So, can you tell me a little bit more about where this dog came from? How it was treated?
Because there's something there. Like I said, like a dog does not just react like that. It doesn't go after the person multiple times for no reason.
Yeah.
So something happened to that dog, either in the years that it's lived and been adopted in and out, or even at that house.
Yeah. A very tragic story.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I do got to give props to Sean for keeping a positive outlook on this.
Yeah.
He was very thankful it was him. and not his kids or wife.
Yeah.
He said he was fighting for his life, and he know for sure if that dog were to attack someone else besides him, he's a 220-pound man, 6 foot.
Mm.
And he had stitches, his whole arm. He posted a 7-minute video on Instagram. I watched the whole thing. And he shows his arm, and it just looks crazy. There's stitches all over. One arm, the
Wow.
other arm, you can just see teeth marks with blood just all over.
That's crazy. Yeah. No, I mean, because especially like because like I'm assuming he has young kids.
Yeah.
So they're like eye level. So I mean, like that's
easily been a meal.
terrifying. That's terrifying. Yeah.
Oof. But
Yeah. So
wait, back on it real quick.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, if you were in his shoes, what would you have done? Would you do things similar to what he did, or would you do things different after the first incident?
So in my experience, when a dog attacks somebody
Yeah.
or something happens,
Yeah.
and you go to the hospital and you say, "Hey, I got bit by a dog,"
ER.
like they basically go and get the dog and then take them to the pound.
Yeah.
And so I would probably have had the dog taken to the pound in my
Yeah.
instance. And so the second incident in my parallel universe of
Would
this
have not
attack
happened.
wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, I mean, you don't adopt a dog without asking
Or doing research.
like or
before-
doing
yeah.
research. So obviously he knew what kind of dog this was and had a relationship with the dog.
Yeah.
And like you also especially when you're adopting a dog, you do like you go in and you sit with the dog, you see the temperament, you talk with the people, and they kind of tell you how the dog is.
Yeah.
And you can see how it interacts with you. And so I feel like if this dog had had a history of aggression, he wouldn't have adopted the dog, especially with little kids. You wouldn't want to adopt a
Yeah.
dog with a history of aggression.
Maybe they didn't put on his record at the pound.
That is the thing, because I had my first dog ever, I adopted a dog.
Yeah.
They didn't list something for his on his record.
Really?
Yeah, and it actually ended up costing him his life. And so basically my first dog died because they didn't write something down. But so I mean, it's completely a possibility that they just
Yeah.
didn't put it on his record and basically just didn't want to like let anybody know. They just wanted to get the dog out because I mean, we do have an epidemic of animals in the shelters that need homes
Yeah.
and not enough people who want to take care of them. So if a dog is not like desirable, if you will, especially with the pity breeds, or like you said it was a boxer.
A boxer, yeah.
Yeah, so dogs that are seemed or deemed as aggressive, because there's like a specific aggressive breeds,
Yeah. I know about yeah.
that are seemed to be known as aggressive. They're gonna try to want to get them out of there.
And it's so crazy.
Yeah.
These, especially the aggressive dogs, quote unquote, they need everything on the record to be true. These people need to know what they're about to adopt and invite into their house to live with them.
Yeah, and also like not every dog that has like a quote aggressive label, like
Yeah.
that could be seen as aggressive, are actually aggressive.
It's just the way they're raised.
It's just the way that they're raised, exactly. So that's I would in this parallel universe, I would want to
yeah.
you know, get more information on the dog before I even adopted it. And so like the fact that they had no issues for the 3 months prior makes me kind of confused as to what triggered this dog more than the fire alarm. Because like my dogs, like I have one dog who is absolutely terrified of loud noises.
Oh.
He hates thunderstorms. He
Firecrackers.
hates all
Aw.
of it. And so like his first reaction is not to bite
Be
me.
aggressive.
His first reaction is to come lay in my lap, even though he's a 65-pound dog. Like, so the
Yeah.
first reaction says a lot about how that dog has been treated, either in the low home or in other homes.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot to unpack here, and unfortunately, we're not going to get all of the information.
Hopefully they do an update. Hopefully they do an update.
Hopefully we get more information. We need the dog
We
side.
need the dog side. Let's interview the dog.
Yeah, actually, next Daily's Dose, we should get the dog. We should
It's
get the
gonna be
dog
hosted
on
in
here.
Dallas.
Yeah,
Can we
we're
do
gonna host
that?
it in Dallas. We're gonna have a dog. If y'all hear barking, don't worry about it.
But put a muzzle on that thing because We see what he's done to Sean, and I don't
Oh
know
my
about you,
gosh.
but I don't want to be bit.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But yeah,
Yeah. So our next topic is gonna kind of tie back a little bit to what we were talking about earlier, about how pegging these like performers into kind of like an expectation.
mm.
And so to both the excitement and dread of a lot of people, rising star Chappell Roan, you know Chappell Roan.
Yes, Queen.
Everyone knows Chappell Roan.
Yeah.
Even if you don't like her music, have heard anything about her music, you do know the name, even if you're not familiar with what she looks like.
I can do the dance.
The hot to go dance.
Should we do it?
Like H-O-T-T-O-G-O.
Oops, spelled that.
You can take me hot to go. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
we're
that
gonna
one?
perfect the dance for next time.
Yeah, we're gonna perfect it. We're gonna do it at the top, actually.
Oh,
For
we should.
those of you who are audio only, you should definitely check out our YouTube video because we just
did that.
we just crazily did that.
We did that.
on video. But moving on.
But Chappell
so
Roan, yes.
Chappell Roan, she released her latest single, "The Giver." If you haven't heard it,
I have not. What is it about?
it's a country song.
What?
Exactly. So
Oh.
basically, so it's kind of a hard left turn for her into kind of like the country genre, and so a lot of fans are bucking against it because they don't like the fact that she stepped into that. And so in interviews, Chappell discusses the fact that she really wanted to create a country song that gave her the same vibe that was true to her sound and to herself as "Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy." And so "Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy" is like it was released in 2004 by Big and Rich.
Yeah.
And so basically this is kind of like the sapphic version of that, if you will.
Yeah.
And so basically "The Giver" has kind of been labeled as, quote, queer country. And so it's like a song within a genre that kind of clashes with itself and her own beliefs, if you will.
Yeah.
And so while Chappell's like no way the first person to have hopped genres,
No.
and like to receive a negative response from her listeners, for me this is really just a symptom of a larger problem, because I mean, where basically in pop culture, artists are put into a role and like expected to just stay there, basically effectively stunting how they're growing creatively.
Yeah.
Another really good example of this, especially with the country thing, because everybody wants to go country apparently.
Why?
I
my
don't
own thoughts on
know.
that,
I don't
but-
know. But
know.
Beyonce, her
Don't play me right now.
her foray into country music was "Cowboy Carter," which won her the Grammy for Best Country Album. And she was the first Black woman to ever win that award, which is phenomenal.
Phenomenal for sure.
Yeah, but I don't entirely
Agree?
know if I agree with it being
I
Best Country
don't.
Album.
Proud of that.
But like, so when she was accepting the award, she was surprised, basically. She was like, I wasn't expecting this, but
I did see like the memes of her. She was like,
yeah, she was like, oh my gosh, what?
Yeah.
Me? And so she was excited, but like she was not expecting to have won it. And so basically she addressed the crowd in a speech. She was like, I think sometimes the, quote, genre is a code word to keep us in our place as artists. And then she said that I just want to encourage people to do what they're passionate about and to stay persistent. And so that's kind of like what I'm talking about when it comes to being put into a genre and then trying to like step out of that genre
yeah.
and then not being allowed to by your fans. And so like another example of this, I feel like a bad example, is with Playboi Carti. Like again, we've said this is known, I am not a large rap person.
I'm not a male rap.
But I was subjected to the entire 30-song album on a car ride. And so
Against your will.
against my will, I listened to 30 songs by Playboi Carti in his new album, Music, also known as I Am Music. And he is not music, in my personal opinion. And so, but basically, he tried to explore new genres in this album, and it really didn't do it what he wanted to, I think. And also, one thing I will say that I do think is really interesting is that I was introduced to the concept of surprise or secret features. I didn't know that was a thing.
What is that?
Exactly. I didn't know that was a thing. And so basically, like, an artist will release an album and they'll have people featured on the album, and then they won't tell you who it is until the next day. And so you basically have to like listen and use your like audio speculation skills
But it's not
to
gonna have
like
their name on the title.
until the next day. Yeah. And so basically you have like the
What?
release day to like figure out who it is, which
Oh,
is kind of
wait, that's kind of fun.
cool, which
Wait,
was fun.
yeah.
Yeah. But like also I was kind of like, huh? And so that was kind of like the only really good thing about the Cardi album
Wait, who
in
was
my
the secret
personal.
artist?
So there was a bunch of them. There was there was Kendrick Lamar, there was The Weeknd, there was Travis Scott, there
Mm,
was a couple of other people that I'm blanking on
yeah.
at like the top of my head here. But like yeah, so like he was trying to do something interesting and new, but honestly, it really just kind of fell flat. As like, especially as someone who isn't as familiar with him as an artist, I just didn't enjoy it at all.
Yeah.
And so like there was maybe one or two songs that I was like, oh,
I listened to a couple of the songs and I
yeah.
do agree. I couldn't understand what he was saying, but I did like the
Yes,
beats. The
yeah.
beats were definitely there.
Yeah, no, if you're listening to a Playboy Cardi album, you definitely need the lyrics pulled up because you will not understand anything he's saying.
Yes.
And then it's just simply like a symptom of the mumble rapping game here.
Yeah.
But all of this to say, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
And it's just, why do you think there is a pushback from fans when an artist wants to like explore genres?
I know personally for me, when it comes to like female artists,
Mm-hmm.
when they try to explore other genres that they know their fans are not going to agree with, I am low-key one of those fans who are going to hate on them because I realize it's all about comfort. If it's something that I know, if I associate one artist with a specific genre
Yeah.
and they try to branch out, I'm not going to feel comfortable. I know their music ties back to a genre that I'm comfortable with, that I love, and I'm known to enjoy.
Yeah.
And I just feel like if they're gonna release a new album or a song or two in a different genre, I'm gonna hate that song, and it's gonna make a bad image of them
Yeah.
in my head. So maybe they're just scared.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a possibility because I mean when
Beyonce, let's go back to that real quick.
yeah, because I mean like Beyonce is known for a lot. She's
Like-
kind of done some previous genre hopping, but not so far from like the
This was crazy.
but like not such a like a large stray.
Yeah,
Because I believe she's more well known for like pop, rap,
early 2000s.
R&B,
That's what I'm low-key
stuff like
associate her
that.
with. Yeah,
Destiny's Child.
Exactly.
Yes, yeah. So like I feel like when artists are trying to branch out creatively, it's not necessarily because they just don't want to do something that they know their fans will love.
yeah.
I think it's because they want to explore. And it's
You
like,
just can't be mad.
yeah, I feel like you can't be mad. You should at least give it a chance. And so, like, you can not like it,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
Like,
sure.
it's definitely subjective. But I feel like just straight up not liking something because, like, you're like,
It doesn't agree with you.
well, they're an indie like a alternative artist, and they just released a pop album. I don't want to listen to that because it's pop.
Because I know this is gonna be bad.
and
I'm
it's
not
like,
gonna give
well,
it a chance.
maybe just go listen
Yeah.
to a song or two and
You
see
know
if you
what?
like it.
I have been a victim of that. There's been a couple of artists when they release an album that is not their forte, I hate it for the first 5 years. Tell me why the 6th year I go back, give it a try, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, and so sometimes when an artist like branches out of the original genre that they're in,
Yeah.
it ultimately aids in their reception.
Yeah.
And so because like I can't think of any like a specific example off the top of my head, but like I'm sure there have been plenty of artists who have started in like jazz or something that has moved into a different like genre
Yeah.
and is now more well known.
Let me think.
Like because they shifted. And it's like
Yeah.
if we as fans, like for an example, like pushed back against Billy Joel as an artist when he was first coming up, and we were like, oh well, no, I don't like the fact that he does this way, and I'm not gonna like anything he does in the future.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have like very well known hits, and so it's like I feel like you just kind of have to give it a try.
You do. You do got to give it a try. But also, on the other factor you got to take in consideration is how popular the artist is. I low-key feel like, coming back to Beyonce because I love Beyonce, I won't get over the fact that Cowboy Carter was a country album. I'll give it to her. I'll accept it. There's a couple of songs I do really like that I
that are
caught
pretty
myself
good.
on
Yeah.
repeat. Cuff It, oh, I love. Now Texas Hold'em, I don't know. It's a catchy song, but will I listen to it?
I feel like that's a whole other like epidemic in the music industry is the TikTok music. that we've got
Gosh.
is that like we will have musicians produce music that are basically meant to go viral and not actually meant to have
Yeah.
weight or to hold space in the music industry as an individual like album or single.
Yeah.
And I feel like partially what happens when people shift genres, if you will, is that they're trying to step away from that. They're trying not to do that. And then when we see this thing that's so different, we're like, oh, well, I don't like that because it's different.
Well, do you think they could be money hungry too? Some of these artists?
That is a complete possibility, honestly, because I mean, if you're seeing that you're not working in the genre that you're in,
Yeah.
like people aren't listening to
Yeah.
it, the style is not something that people are enjoying, like you're seeing that you're getting negative reviews, especially for like these more popular artists.
Yeah.
I feel like you definitely could be like, oh, well, maybe let's just switch genres and see if people like that better. Like, and so you could like just want to do that. But honestly, I
sure.
feel like for a lot of performers, the music industry is about creating art. And so I feel like to a degree, I feel like a lot of the entertainment industry at the core of it is about creating something new and creating art. And I feel like the definition of art is different for everybody.
Yeah.
And so I feel like when you have artists that you recognize are actually like have skin in the game, they want to do this because they love to do it, you'll recognize that. And so those are the artists that we kind of cling onto.
I have a perfect example of that, of artists and people who are just money hungry.
Yeah.
Nicki Minaj, love her. She's been here for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Ice Spice. I don't think she's here to make music for sure. I think she's just here to collect a bag.
I mean,
there's no way.
I haven't heard a lot from Ice Spice.
What?
Again, not a big rap person.
That is so true.
But like, it's not. I know who she is.
But hers is a perfect example. Half her music is the same thing. She's rapping. She's arguing about the same thing.
Yeah.
The beats are the same. It's just a different beat, maybe an extra beat that's added, and she's calling it a new album.
Yeah, and so I mean that's just kind of like what I'm saying with that is like you will be able to recognize the people that are here to stay, here to make music, here to make art, here to make something that will last, and the people that are basically just here because they could.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So.
And I just feel like it's a lot of what these new rappers in the industry.
Yeah.
I guess since rap's been here for so long, there's already like so many songs.
Yeah.
So trying to come up with new music, a new concept to come up with for a new artist, try to make something out of themselves, it is hard too at the same time.
Yeah, to make something that's new while also still, again, not so new that it makes people uncomfortable. Yeah. And so because you want to stay in that like familiar range, but I think that's partially off topic here, but I think that's partially why people don't like musicals. Like, is that basically like it'll just come out of left field and you're like, what is happening?
I am on that side.
Yeah, and so like I feel like it's just because it again like steps away from the norm.
Yeah,
and that's part of why I like Doechii. Is that she has a musicality in the way that it's like almost theatrical.
Yeah.
And that's how musicals, that's how they sound. And so a lot of people don't like those aspects of her songs. And so when she utilizes that musicality and that theatric nature in her songs, they don't like those parts. Like the breathing at the end of Denial's River. That? No, people don't like that. They're like, oh my gosh, what is she doing? And it's like, it's so fun. It's so fun.
It's something different.
And I said this previously, but like at first, when I first listened to it, I was like, oh, this is weird. This is different. I don't like that. And then I listened to it again and I went, I kind of really mess with it. I like it a lot. And so it's like, I feel like it's just, again, that in like introduction to something different, to something new, that people don't want to listen to, even if it is good, simply because it's different from what they were expecting.
And that's why comfort.
Yeah.
People are going to go back to what they're comfortable and know.
Yeah.
A safe space.
Rather than letting people grow. All right. Well, moving on. I've got some recommendations for y'all. So welcome back to my little 3 for 3. So my first one is I'm going to recommend a book from one of my favorite authors, Victoria E. Schwab, also known as V.E. Schwab. Her newest novel, Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. The description is super vague, but I think it's kind of fun. And so it's like Santa Dominga de la Calzada. I'm
Mhm.
not, I don't speak Spanish. Please don't flame me, guys. 1532, London, 1837, Boston, 2019. Three young women, their bodies planted in the same soil, their stories tangling like roots. One grows high, and one grows deep, and one grows wild, and all of them grow teeth. And so it's a vampire book, which is resurging a lot. Vampires are very popular in the media. They always have been.
They always have been. The Vampire Diaries.
like,
Love that series.
Love that series.
Oof.
A la Bram Stoker. I have beef with Count Orlok. Don't even
Oh.
get me started. Nosferatu. We're not talking about that.
Ooh.
Nosferatu was a ripoff, and Bram Stoker's wife sued the people that made Nosferatu because they basically ripped off the story and made a completely different character.
Did they win?
I believe so, yeah.
Period.
So I have beef with Count Orlok.
Oh.
And
Let it be known here,
I
guys.
I will fight that skinny vampire. Trust. But moving on.
Yeah.
It's a vampire book. It's got some toxic relationships. I know some people can relate to that.
I love
myself
toxic
included.
relationships.
No.
That's
Don't
a
love
different story.
them.
That's a different story.
Oh my gosh. But it's also gothic, which is very fun.
Okay.
I love a good gothic vibe. It's a very nice fall book also, but it's being released in the summer. So the release date for Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab is June 10th, 2025.
Okay.
So I believe the pre-orders are open. So if you want to just get on up in there, by all means, go to your local bookseller. And then for a TV show, we've got The Studio. And so basically it's a legacy Hollywood movie studio juggles corporate demands with creative ambitions as they try to keep movies alive and still relevant. It's a little meta because basically it's a TV show about making movies. So it's a little kind of like book inside a book inside a book, if you will.
Yeah.
And so, but it does star some pretty big hitters like Seth Rogen, Catherine O'Hara, and Catherine Hahn, and some other big name actors. That one has a closer release date, and so that's March 26th. And the first 2 episodes are going to release on Apple TV.
That's next week.
Yeah, Apple TV Plus.
Okay, period.
Mm-hmm. And then my last recommendation for y'all is a movie called Novocaine. This one already released March 14th, so last week. But basically the plot follows Nathan Kane, that is played by Jack Quaid, and he's a bank employee with the inability to feel pain through a thing called congenital insensitivity to pain with anhidrosis.
Mm-hmm.
So basically he goes out to rescue his coworker, who's played by Amber Midthunder, and after a group of bank robbers takes her hostage. And so it's supposed to be like a comedy, funny, and so basically he'll get stabbed and is like, what are you doing that for? Kind of like that, physical visual humor. That was very popular in the early 2000s. That's kind of getting resurgence with a lot of movies. And so the only thing is that it's received a very mediocre box office reception with 11.3 million with an $18 million budget. And so there's a lot of less than enthusiastic reviews from a lot of the major players review-wise. I think AP News gave it a 2.5 out of 4. And it's got an 82% on Rotten Tomatoes, which isn't bad.
Yeah.
But it's not great. And so I feel it's really I think it's one of those things where it's if this is a movie that you are interested in, you're gonna love it. But if you have even the smallest inkling that you're not gonna like it, you're probably gonna hate it.
Doesn't sound like my forte, low key.
And that's okay.
Just some things are not for me.
Just some 3 for 3. You can take what you want. You can take 1 of 3 or 2 of 3 or none of 3.
I might take the book one, low key.
Oh, okay.
The rest are okay. Okay. Now for my favorite part, Aiden's tea time. Okay, so now we're gonna dive deep into some Selena, Justin, and Haley drama
I'm gonna
again.
sit back. I gotta get ready.
This is
Okay.
a long story. I have notes upon notes on this.
Yeah, there's a very long document.
It's a whole
got
page.
It's an entire page.
It's an entire
I'm ready.
page, Yes. Okay, so a 7-part series got posted on YouTube
Mm-hmm.
that is now trending over the weekend. Keep in mind, this video was posted 6 months ago. But why are people just now
Interesting.
getting into it and trending? It's because Haley responded to it. That's towards the end. We'll get to that later.
Wait, hold on. So who posted it?
Some YouTuber.
Oh, okay.
Some YouTuber, one of those tea insider YouTubers who dives deep into the lore and drama and all that.
Okay, yeah,
They posted this video 6 months ago, but I don't know why people are just now getting into it. So I watched the whole video. I paused it. I was taking notes. I love this video. had me hooked. Literally had me hooked. Okay, so it all started. We all know that Haley is allegedly a fan of Justin Bieber. When Justin was 15, she was 13.
Yeah.
He's a little older. Because of Haley's dad, Stephen Baldwin, Haley was able to meet Justin at a very young age, going to his red carpet events and backstage shows.
Yeah.
She was always alleged to be a super fan, and Haley followed everywhere, Justin everywhere, to the point where Haley would text fan accounts asking where Justin's whereabouts are.
That's kind of weird.
To super fans.
That's kind of weird.
To casually bump into him in a hotel or a restaurant. Imagine. And this happened more than once.
Yikes. Did it work?
I don't know.
Dang. All right, kids, don't do it.
Well, first, that's stalking. Let's talk about that first.
First, that's stalking. Definitely don't stalk people. The Daily Dose official opinion. Please do not stalk people.
And so the person who would run the fan account, the super fan account, posted a video saying, showing the screenshots that Haley texted the fan account and posted receipts. So there's receipts on this.
Oh my gosh.
There's receipts. But then the one part where it says that Haley's asking what hotel is Justin staying at, it's on her old laptop. She doesn't have that receipt. So we could all say we have to believe her, quote unquote, the super fan who's running the account. We have to believe her that Haley texted her. Which I do believe, but there is still receipts saying them communicating about Justin.
Yeah, so I mean, there's definitely, especially because this stuff, I guess, would be like a couple of years old.
Yeah,
obviously. And so I feel like I don't know if because when did this happen? Like
2015.
2015. So I don't really know if like deep fakes were that like prevalent in like the thing. So honestly, the likelihood of that actually being her is extremely high.
I don't think people were photoshopping back then either.
No, yeah.
This is actually before 2014.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like
it has to be true.
It has a very high likelihood of being
high likelihood, yes.
Yeah.
We cannot confirm nor deny.
Yeah.
But
allegedly.
So now in 2014, Selena and Justin had their longest breakup. During this time, Justin was already friends with the Kardashian sisters. And so now instead of going to the super fan to know Justin's whereabouts, Haley decided to friend the Kardashian sisters. And now since they're friends, she can easily just go up to her friends and say, hey, where's Justin at? So now she doesn't have to go through the super fan. And so now that's when she ultimately like pretty much dropped the super fan, the account and stuff. And so some months go by. Justin and Haley were spotted getting dinner, going back to Justin's house, but she was not spotted leaving till the next morning. During the Selena and Justin break. Little tea.
So she's definitely wedging herself into his life.
It sounds she's like she's forcing something.
Yeah.
In 2015, there was a New Year's party. Selena was gonna spend it with Justin, but last minute, Selena got invited to a party in Dubai with Gigi Hadid and Kendall Jenner, one of the Kardashian sisters. People suspect that this was a setup, so Justin could be alone with Haley in America while they're in another country. So when the ball drops down to midnight, who are you gonna kiss if your lover is across the world?
Yeah, no, that's like some like next level. Like she's playing planning. Chess.
She is running this game.
Yeah, that's nuts.
But throughout this whole time, Justin made it clear that he's not looking for a new partner. Instead, he's just having fun and hooking up with other celebrities. Not just it's not confirmed. I haven't seen anything confirmed that Justin's having fun with Haley herself.
Yeah,
but it's confirmed that he's having fun with other celebrities other than Selena. So
yeah, I mean. They were on a break.
They were on a break, I guess. Why not?
A la Friends. We were on a break.
Haley still made moves, and Justin still made it clear that he was not going to go with her. And he said in an interview that we're so in love, nothing else matters. We're all about each other. About Selena.
Okay, interesting.
When Haley found out, she got so mad. She accidentally retweeted some tweets saying, I feel like Justin and Haley are secretly dating. And can someone get Haley and Kendall to fight Selena?
Nah.
How do you accidentally retweet that? Please actually tell me.
Yeah, that's definitely not an accident. Let's be so for real.
Main account. There's no Stan account on your main account. There's no way you can accidentally like that.
No, that was so on purpose.
Literally. So over the next couple of years, now we can see her behavior become more obsessive. This is where we start seeing Haley copying Selena's pose, outfits, trying to get Justin's intentions and stuff like that. To the point where, at one point, Selena posted something. 24 hours later, go by. Haley is seen with the exact same outfit and pose. 24 hours later.
Wow.
24 hours later.
That's crazy.
And we're at the final straw for me.
Yeah.
Throughout this whole time, maybe it's a coincidence. That's what I keep telling myself.
Yeah. Like, I mean, there's a potential for it. I mean, probably not, but like, there's a potential for it.
We could say that.
Yeah.
Until 2015, Selena decided to get the letter G tattooed on her left side in tribute for her sister Gracie.
Aww.
12 days later, Haley is spotted with the same tattoo, similar tattoo, same cursive, lowercase g, behind her left ear with the letter G, saying it represents her pastor's daughter, Georgia.
That's so weird. Why would you get your pastor's daughter tattooed?
Why would you?
What? Yeah, no, that's so weird.
That's low-key obsessive behavior.
There's no way. Like, I honestly, that's like, what? I'm sorry. That's such a lame excuse. That's like, oh, I'm so sorry that I was late. The alligator ate my tires. I couldn't
Everyone
drive.
in those comments were saying that. What a lame excuse. You couldn't come up with another excuse.
Yeah, no, like, there's something so much, like, more, like, available. You literally could have been like, oh, it's a G for God, because I believe in God, or something like that.
That would have been a better excuse than your pastor's daughter.
Like, pastor's daughter? That's crazy.
But
like, I want this to reflect my faith. No, you... What? Girl.
12 days later at that.
Be so for real. That's crazy.
No, for real. And then in 2018, Justin and Selena got back together. And then they finally ended. They called it quits for sure. Forever. Yeah. And then 6 months later, Justin marries Haley.
That is the craziest turnaround. I'm not even going to lie. I remember seeing that and I went...
Well, it's because you know why? Haley and Justin low-key have been dating since 2016.
What?
Low-key.
Huh?
And so as soon as Selena ended it, Justin was like, okay, well, I guess I can just go ahead and marry Haley then.
Oh my gosh.
What do you mean?
That's actually insane. So wait, so hold on. So they were dating.
Yeah.
Since 2016.
Secretly dating.
Secretly dating since 2016. But then Justin got back together with Selena in 2018?
Yeah.
Huh?
Supposedly, Selena went on a mental retreat. And so I guess Justin felt bad or something, and he got back with her. And when she came back, she ended it. And so Justin was just left stranded.
That's crazy. I mean, she probably found out, honestly. Like,
she probably did.
I don't know about you, but if I'm dating someone for 2 years, there's going to be evidence that I've been dating them for 2 years.
And for a super fan at that, you're going to marry a super fan?
That's nuts.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
But it doesn't stop there. The copying does not stop there.
Oh, no.
No, sweetie.
Oh, boy.
Okay. So, again, Haley copies Selena again. In 2020, Selena started her own YouTube cooking series. 2 years later, Haley started her own cooking series too. Copied the aesthetic, the way they even say the exact same words too, having their family in that, having them introduce the same meals. But Selena's show made it pretty far. It got featured on HBO Max. For Haley, she got tired of her show after 5 episodes.
That's nuts.
There's no way you're going to make a whole cooking series and only do 5 episodes for you to just drop it like that.
See, that's what I'm saying. This goes back to that, you'll know the real people from the fake people.
Yeah.
Literally, Selena, went out for it, did it, got her stuff out there, and then, Haley gave up.
Yeah, she got tired.
No, that's crazy.
So now we're back to present day.
Oh, boy.
So this is where it got relevant again. So now that Haley is confirmed a mother and now she's a mom.
Yeah.
She took to the internet. In an article by TMZ, Haley is fed up with the false rumors and narratives spreading online about the relationship and how they got together. What do you mean? What's false? There is proof. There is actual proof.
Talking about it 7 years later.
Why not talking about right there and then? She said she didn't want to give the hateful people attention, pretty much. She didn't want to give them attention.
Well, you're giving it to them anyways. I mean,
now that she's a mom, she was like,
girl.
okay, I'm sick and tired of everything. I might as well speak about my truth. And
I mean, I guess, yeah.
So now she's taking the legal route, and now she's gonna hire an attorney to go after every single blogger and commenter that's hating on her.
Dude, if Selena went after every single blogger and commenter that ragged on her, she'd be in an endless legal battle. Be so for real, girly pop.
Literally. But that is That's pretty much it. But that's the crazy tea. Now, my question is for you. A
Uh-huh.
couple of things. After hearing all this, do you think all of this is a coincidence, or do you think Haley planned all this years to get close to Justin over time?
Honestly, with all of the information that we've got compiled here, it really does feel like Haley was trying to wedge herself in there.
Mm.
And because I mean, especially with the whole like money talks to money thing.
Yeah.
So like you're obviously gonna fall into the same circles. There's a lot of famous people that you'd be like, oh,
Yeah, for
well,
sure.
they know this person, and then you're like, oh, well, like this person actually knows a Nick Cage, and you're like, whoa, how do
Yeah.
you know this person? And so it's like Hollywood is extremely intermingled, and they're very tangled together. Like basically everybody knows everybody. It's part of what makes Hollywood so hard to break into.
Money talks.
Is
Yeah.
money talks, and money talks to money. And so if you're just starting out, you have zero connections, you have no one that you actually know, and you're basically just kind of at the bottom of the quote food chain.
Yeah.
And so yeah, no, she definitely had a head start because of her dad.
Yeah.
And so she jumped up a couple of rungs when it comes to like being famous. And then so she had the opportunity to kind of, I guess, meet
Squeeze her
her
way in there.
idol and
Yeah.
like squeeze her way in there. So I with everything, especially with trying to and effectively copying your celebrity crush's longest relationship. I mean,
And there's other like small things. There's just no need to get into. It's just confirming what we all know.
yeah, no, that's nuts.
I just feel bad for Selena. After all this, imagine trying to be
Yeah.
with someone in a happy relationship. I mean, there's stuff behind the scenes that we probably don't know
Oh,
about.
for sure.
But when someone's trying to like lodge their way into the relationship and ruin the relationship and successfully doing
And
it.
publicly.
And
It's so public.
publicly.
We talked about this I think in the last episode too, about like how all of these, especially these child stars, because almost all of these guys have been in Hollywood their entire lives.
Literally.
And so like
On TV and behind TV.
all they've known is Hollywood. And so we've watched them grow up. They're
Yeah.
failing publicly, they're succeeding publicly. Everything is for our eyes.
Yeah.
And so to have that, something so tender, so private, happen so publicly, it's so unfortunate.
Yeah.
And especially with everything that has happened to Selena,
Mhm.
like her whole personal health issues as well.
We did see
like-
her at South by. And
This is
she was
true.
on a panel speaking about mental health.
Yeah, and so this was 2024 South by. She was there, gorge as always, with her mom.
Oh, yes.
They were talking about their business and talking about the like prioritizing mental health, because
Yeah.
it is again another thing that happens when you are constantly in the public eye, is that you really don't have any time for yourself. Because if you take a break, you slow down, whatnot, you become quote irrelevant. And so basically, yeah. That's crazy.
My next question is, I just need to confirm, whose side are you on?
Oh,
Selena or
I don't
Hailey?
even think you need to ask me. I'm a Selena Gomez girly.
Okay.
To the bottom of my heart.
Period.
I love Selena Gomez. I loved her acting. I loved her music.
Oh, yes.
She needs to get back into music personally.
Uh-huh.
I love her
Well,
role.
did you see she's gonna drop an album with her husband or boyfriend?
Beyonce? Question mark.
Something.
I
Benny
have
Blanco.
personal opinions on her
Oh.
relationship with Benny Blanco, and it's not because he's mid. Let's be so for real. If y'all don't think that Benny Blanco is mid, you're lying to yourselves.
His music's good, but him as a person
No,
is
like
mid.
him, like aesthetically
Oh,
mid. I'm not gonna lie.
It is mid.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
sorry.
so,
Okay.
but like, I don't know. I feel like it's just not the right. They're not the right guy for Selena, and for someone who
No
I
one will
grew
ever
up
be. Let's be honest.
like, yeah.
No one will
so
ever be
for
good
someone
enough.
who I grew up with, like I grew up with Selena Gomez.
Yeah.
Like I grew up with her starting in Barney. Like
Oh
she,
my
like,
God.
like she
In Crazy
started in
Lore.
Barney,
In
Wizards of Waverly Place.
Uh-huh.
Like the new reboot, like her newest role, in Only Murders in the Building.
Yeah.
I love that TV show. Her role in I think it's a Cinderella story. She's been a part of my childhood for so long, and I
Yeah.
feel like, honestly, like there is no one's gonna be good enough for Selena, and maybe that's just my personal opinion on that.
No, but I totally agree though.
But the thing that I feel like differs here is that when you're talking about celebrities, you're like, oh, well, their decision sucks or whatever. I feel like personally, if she feels like this is the best relationship
If
for
she's
her,
happy, I'm happy. You know?
if she's happy, I'm happy. I'm fine.
If she's happy, I'm satisfied.
Because like it's at the end of the day, these are real people, and it's her relationship. It's her life. If
her feelings,
if that's who she decides to spend the rest of her life with, so be it. Yeah. But because at the end of the day, we really don't get to have a say. It's not our life.
We don't.
Just because they're in the public eye doesn't mean that we get to kind of control what they do. And so I feel like that's a lot of what people kind of forget about when it comes to these public entertainment figures.
Well, there's also another thing called cancel culture, but we can talk about that next week. Or next episode.
We definitely can talk about cancel culture. That can be an entire episode. Let's be so for real. I love
cancel culture.
Do you like to be canceled?
I just love the idea of cancel culture. For people, for all of us to get collectively together and hate on someone and cancel them.
I mean, yeah,
that's
but
so strong.
Like, also, you kind of have to think about the amount of times that people are wrong or that they misconstrue something, and then someone's entire career is basically blown apart because someone thought that XYZ. So,
I mean, we'll save that for next episode.
Yeah. Definitely a next episode topic.
I saw this comment. Someone said, besides Haley and Justin drama, besides Selena and Justin drama, name one thing Haley is known for. I said crickets. I don't know.
Well, wasn't she a model?
Was she? I haven't seen her on a runway.
Hold on. I feel like she was a model.
Really?
Yeah. So, I mean, she's done some stuff.
Like growing
like outside of it. Yeah. But I mean, she doesn't have the same staying power that the name Selena Gomez has, I feel like, personally.
Oh my God, we didn't even talk about her beauty campaign and how she's copying Selena. Yeah, but that's a whole other story.
So she's an American model. She's known as the quote businesswoman, socialite, and creative director. I don't know what she's creatively directing, but she's doing something.
Right.
And so basically, like, she's doing things, but it's not to the same staying power that's Selena Gomez.
Long story short, nobody cares. No one gives a damn.
Yeah.
But.
Well, I mean, I guess that's been our episode. Yeah. So I guess adios from the dose.